Go on, CMD.
Oh, I don't know what's going on with here, Jay.
Whole city is gonna come down.
Gonna go back up. You see
So unfortunate for them.
is off the start.
He's gonna spin back in here for you. Away into turn one. Great
Milan dragging him along a bit. Isn't it?
You got to slide. Continue.
Julian.
And here we are then in Canada, back up into the northern hemisphere of the world. It's F1WL in Canada, and we are in the qualifying session, the 18-minute qualifying session, and we look down on the pit lane. Everyone's still in the pit lane, no one has come out yet, as we wait to see the first signs of cars going out on setting laps around the circuit. And there, the first couple of cars have already come out onto the pit lane, and there we see that is the Mercedes coming out of the pit lane, and we see that is a flurry of cars out on the circuit. We see Amerigo, I hope I'm saying that correctly, I apologise if not, and we have KD out on track. Kozolski is out on the track in the Aston Martin. We also have Sinez Mano, Jack, Boss are out on the track at the moment. Those are the drivers that we have out there going around at the moment. As we look there back towards the pit lane, that is the other Red Bull coming out, and that will be Smith coming out onto the circuit. As there's the Haas going down the back straight into the World Champions. I believe he is the first one out there on the circuit. And yellow flag in sector 3. And as we see the Haas start their lap, then this is Sinez, I believe it is, as they come up in towards turn 1. And out of turn 1 they go. And already we could see just sort of setting the pace at the moment. This is going to be the car they all want to beat as he makes his way around down towards turn 5 and turn 6, the fast flowing, not really chicane, but we see him now down the back straight. He'll be deploying the DRS. Yep, there it is, down towards the braking zone. He'll be waiting to go on the brakes. And he's through the corner and now out over the apex, almost brushing into the wall, and now down towards the hairpin he goes, as it's green in the first 2 sectors. However, he is the first car out there, so don't be surprised to see that. However, that is not saying that Sinez is a bad driver by any means. Not saying any of these drivers are bad by any means. As he comes into the Wall of Champions, and he'll head through on the brakes. 15 minutes to go, and out, brushing the Wall of Champions and across the line to set the pace so that the rest of them are going to try and beat him. McLaren behind him of the next McLaren will come across the line. A 1:11.04. Sinez, good lap there as Amerd Digo, I can't say that name, goes across the line, and Mano goes P2, Robertos goes P3, and SD Plays goes P4, but drops now to P5 because Iron Lord Gamer has just set a lap, and that is the other Aston Martin Kozlowski, I think that's pronounced. And I do apologise if I say them incorrectly. There are quite a lot of difficult names to pronounce here. But Kozlowski has gone P3 in the Aston Martin, as we see Seward's face now. Has he just set a lap? Yes, I think. No. I'm waffling, I think. As we watch him come into the chicane. As out of the chicane now, down towards turn 5 and turn 6 he goes. Through, and already 5/10 down. That usually isn't a good sign of a good lap, but he still has 30 minutes to go, so he can still improve, which now he comes down towards the hairpin. He'll be ready to get onto the brakes, and through he goes the hairpin, and there Smith goes up to P2 in the Red Bull. Smith with a 1:11.3 goes up to P2. A good lap there from the Red Bull driver, but not enough to knock Sinez off pole. And I wonder, is this going to be like Belgium? Are we going to see pole on the first lap that they've set? I highly doubt it, as we have yellows in sector 2. However, I believe that has cleared up, as Sherwood's face goes up to P3, or Harwood, I should say, that is shown on screen. Harwood goes up to P3 in the Alfa Romeo, and Pro-Can, who is Atalasoy, I think I'll just say Pro-Can from now on, up in P4. He's just entered the pit lane, as there you can see the Alpha Tauri of that is which Alpha Tauri would that be? That would be the Alpha Tauri of Martin, who was the pole man here in Belgium. However, he heads down the back straight. He'll be looking to do the double and get pole position once more here in Canada. However, he's got a bit of competition on his hands as he heads into the Wall of Champions. And out of the Wall of Champions, he is on an outlap, I believe. Yes, he is on an outlap. So here we go then for his lap as he heads through turn 1 into turn 2 for car number 2 of Martin, and then out wide and getting a little bit of a kick there from the rear end and into the chicane of 3 and 4. Up towards turn 5, the flat out turn 5. They'll be challenged with turn 6 and turn 7, the fake chicane, I guess you could say. as he gets also close to the wall on exit. Now down towards the fast and flowing turn 8 under the bridge and swings it through in 5th gear. Absolutely fantastic lap that Martin's putting together here as Jack goes up to P1 whilst we're watching this lap from Martin as he heads into the hairpin. Purple in sector 2. He's going well around here as he's now out of the hairpin. Flat out now, down towards the back straight and down towards the Wall of Champions chicane. He'll be looking up towards the speed, live speed, and he'll be looking eagerly at that braking zone as through he brings the car, and up towards the line comes Martin, and across the line, what's it going to be? It's going to be provisional pole for Martin, 110.7. That is a quick lap from Martin there as he goes ahead of Jack. Jack has put in a 110.8, and as we see, there is the other AlphaTauri of Firefly heading into the hairpin. That will be Davis on your screen. Sorry that it took me that long to search the timing graphic for him. But he heads down the back straight. Davis is currently on an outlap, I believe. Yeah, he is on an outlap. So as he comes out of the Wall of Champions to start his lap, then car number 19 crosses the line and starts his lap. As he heads up towards turn 1, he'll be looking to emulate his teammate's success. However, he won't be looking to emulate. He will be looking to emulate his race success. However, his little bump with Martin in Belgium can be forgive and forget, as people will always say. So he heads out of the chicane. 10 minutes to go in the qualifying session. Down towards turn 6 and 7, the clunky chicane, I guess you could say, and out down towards the straight, I guess, down towards turn 8, and there's a yellow flag waving as there's a slow-moving Ferrari on the inside of the corner. He has to negotiate, but has negotiated that section of the track extremely well, and now down towards the hairpin. Can he nail it on the brakes? Yes, he can, and it's a purple second sector for Davis. He is lighting it up here in Canada as he makes his way down the long back straight. He'll be eagerly anticipating to get onto the brakes and then flick the car through the right then left of the Wall of Champions as here he goes into the Wall of Champions and through fast and flowing, getting very close to the wall once more and over the line. What's it going to be for Davis? It's going to be second place for him, a 110.7, and that is a quick lap. It just puts him behind his teammate. He's only a couple of tenths off his teammate, and that is mighty impressive for Firefly, or Davis as he's known. As we see there, that's the Red Bull that's just come out of the pit lane, and that is Smithy, who's just come out. You see Smithy taking to the track for his outlap. He'll be looking to just impress here, I guess, and he makes his way around Smithy and makes his way up towards the chicane. He's being followed by a Ferrari, and the Ferrari ahead of him is, I think, it's Lotus, but I'm not sure. You may have to check on that one. It is Lotus, who is ahead of him as there, the AlphaTauri just moving out of the way, and that will be someone else as we see there. Fowler, and I do have to apologise to Fowler. I said Fowler, but in my defence I was reading off the small phone screen. Here comes Aidan Fowler then into turn 13 and 14, otherwise known as the Wall of Champions. He's on a lap, and where's this lap going to put him? It's going to put him up to P7. So Fowler goes up to P7 with a 111.3 as there, and Smith across the line. He's in 6th place, and he's just started his lap as he makes his way up towards the chicane and fastly through. Look at that, just absolutely sending it over those curbs. And this looking to be a fast lap already, only a couple of tenths down, or a couple of hundredths down, I should say, on the next best lap time of James Davis, who put in a 141 at 41.7 in the first sector. And now as he heads out up towards the hairpin, one of the heaviest braking zones on the circuit, we got a yellow flag in sector 2. And there's a slow-moving Ferrari down on the inside of the hairpin, and there through goes Smith, out wide, getting very close to the curbs once more, or the wall once more. And then we'll come down the back straight Yellow flag sector 3, although I think that's just cars slowing down, accelerating, which is causing yellow flags. But into the wall of champions comes Smithy in the Red Bull, over the curbs and out onto the exit curb, and now down the long straight he goes and crosses the line up to P3 for Smith. So Smithy goes P3. So it is an AlphaTauri 1-2. It's a Red Bull 3-4. So it's a good day if you're in the Red Bull program, as both cars, as all 4 cars in the Red Bull program, line out the top 4 of the session here, as that's driver 41 crossing the line, and I believe that's that'll be High Caliber in the Alfa Romeo. Makes his way around turn 2 and waiting to get on the power, and now he can get on the power and foot to the floor, but not for long though, because he's got a fast chicane coming up. And through the chicane he goes. He's getting a bit of a slipstream effect, you could say, from the car in front, and it is one of the Aston Martins that's in front of him. But through this bit of the track he goes, and Jack goes P1. Jack putting in an even faster lap to go P1 with about 5 minutes to go. Jack is on provisional pole at the moment with a 1:10.3 as we watch High Caliber go over turn 9 and 10. I believe he's coming down towards turn 13, I think this is. No, turn 10. I'm mistaken with numbers once more. And through the hairpin he goes, and out now. He'll be on the power all the way down to the wall of champions now. Slipstream from the Williams. That'll be good for him, because he can now get the DRS open and he can get the clean air off that Williams and down into the wall of champions. He'll have to negotiate the Williams, which is going straight for the pit lane. So it comes away at the perfect time. 5 minutes to go. What's the lap time that High Caliber is going to put in as he crosses the line? And it's 10th fastest for High Caliber. Goes right behind his teammate, Sir's face, or Harwood, I should say. Harwood is the Sir's face, so I do apologise if I say that and you're a bit confused on stream, because the names won't match up. But with 5 minutes to go, Jack is on provisional pole as we watch there the Williams of Antonis Korkum make his way up down the straight. And his race story started 0 and now is 13th. So he's 13th fastest at the moment. That is pretty good for any driver, really, to be close to the top 10. However, he's got 5 minutes to set another lap to try and get himself in that top 10. I hope we can see Korkum up the order, as he is a very likeable person and a very good driver. So he makes his way down the back straight, weaving up the tyres there. Weaving down the back straight as we see come into the wall of champions, and it'll be accelerating out of the wall of champions for him, and then he'll cross the line to start his lap, I believe. Getting very close to the wall of champions once more. Cross the line to start his lap, and up towards turn 1 he goes. And already through turn 1, he's got a bit of traffic to negotiate with though. And I think that was his own teammate, and he spins it. He spun it on acceleration. I think he may have been distracted by the 2 coming out of the pit lane, and he spun it on acceleration. That is not good for him, and he now has to wait a whole new lap to start his fast lap again. But we watch the Ferrari of Boss come into the final chicane and out over the curbs. Robertos currently on a lap, I believe. Not sure, but what does Robertos do? No, he wasn't on a lap. I don't think so. But now as he comes around turn 2 on his actual lap this time, passes where Korkum spun it earlier, and rear end kicking out again for him. And that's not the first time we've seen the rear end of a car kick out there at that part of the circuit. We've got a yellow flag in this sector, but it's cleared up now. He makes his way up towards turn 6 and 7. He makes his way through, braking and now accelerating through turn 7, just waiting to fully get on the power, and now he can get on the power. Down the back straight, DRS wide open for him. He's now into the braking zone, under the bridge. Darkness into daylight as he heads through that fast-flowing part of the track and getting very, very close on exit there, on that curb, down towards the hairpin. One of the heaviest braking zones on the circuit. He's managed to nail it through on the apex, out wide. Doesn't get as close to the wall as we've seen some drivers getting close this session. 2 minutes to go in qualifying as he heads down the back straight, getting a bit of a slipstream effect off those cars, but those cars jumping out of the way. There's the Haas in front of him. He might be starting another lap, and he is starting another lap. It's a Ferrari of Boss. Heads through. It's been a yellow lap so far, but can he improve in the final sector? What's it going to be for Boss? He's going to stay 14th fastest. Disappointment for Boss as he doesn't improve up the order. And very disappointing stuff as we've got yellow flags all over the place as drivers are letting each other through. As we watch Smith there down the back straight. He's on a yellow lap at the moment. And he may improve it through the remainder of the lap as he heads up through the fastest section of the track, one of the fastest corners of the circuit. And down towards the hairpin he goes. And the hairpin of turn 10. Getting on the brakes there. Not getting as close, but gets mighty close to the wall. Doesn't get close to the apex, but does get close to the wall. And now down the back straight for Smith. Can he improve? Green sector 2. Can he improve on his lap to try and go P3 or even P2? As the other two drivers ahead of him have come out. As we're into the dying moments of qualifying, the final minute. Here comes Smithy to cross the line. What's it going to be for Smithy in the Red Bull? It's going to be second. It's a Red Bull 1-2 in this qualifying session. Sinez behind. What is Sinez up to in the Haas? And he doesn't improve. Sinez doesn't improve as he crosses the line. And we see there, that's one of the AlphaTauris. And that will be Martin, I think that is. Yeah, that is Martin. He's making his way down the back straight. Yellow flag ahead for slow cars. And he sees his teammate up there. That's Firefly or Davis heading into the final chicane. But he's let another car through in between him. So I don't know if there was an orchestrated move going on down there at AlphaTauri, but they've let the Ferrari through as Martin starts his final lap then. As Jack goes on to pole and Fowler follows suitly in second place. This is a manic qualifying session as we see cars setting their final laps. The dying moments as Martin makes his way down towards the chicane. He's getting a slipstream off the cars in front as now he heads up towards turn 6. He's 700th up on his lap. Purple sector 1. He makes his way down the long straight and he'll have DRS wide open here. And he'll be waiting to go on the brakes as there the Ferrari gets out of the way. Sees the AlphaTauri in his mirrors and jumps out of the way as through the fastest corners on the circuit. Fastest braking zone on the circuit. As now he's got the slipstream of his teammate Davis in front of him. And he's a whole 10th up on his previous lap. This is looking to be a mighty fine lap for Martin as he gets very, very close to the wall. As now his teammate jumps out of the way. And he heads down the back straight. And now all that's left for him is the World Champions. And if he nails this, he might be on for pole position here, or even a shot on the front row. So his pace is third fastest at the moment, as now he comes out of the Wall of Champions. He's absolutely nailed this lap. What's it going to be for Martin? He's going to go on to pole position. Martin goes up to provisional pole, and if anyone else behind him can do better, I think it's Martin who's going to be on pole here, and from Jack. As we see in the pit lane, that is the action down there. And they'll be mighty excited down there as Harwood crosses the line. P4 for Harwood. So he's up there as well in the top 4. Very good qualifying effort for him. And the last car in the pit lane there, Davis, Martin's teammate. So it's Martin on pole from Jack. That is a brilliant qualifying order. As the last car, we're only waiting for Corkum to head into the Williams garage. As we see the rest of the AI controlled cars, because they've crossed the finish line and they have completed their laps. As we see there, some of the other drivers making their way down the through, and there, that is it. That is the end of the qualifying session. So it is confirmed, Martin is on pole. We see the end to a fantastic qualifying session. As we look for the full results list, it's Martin from Jack, then comes Lotus, then So With Face, then Smithy, Firefly, Procan, Ironlaw Gamer, Zotic, Sinez, High Caliber, Robertos, ST Plays, Mano, Corkum, Luigi Sven, McDum 30, and Harry rounds out the final position with, he didn't set a lap time. Harry did not set a lap time. He is down in 18th place. And that is it for qualifying. Join us in a few minutes where we'll be seeing the race, the full race, and the final race of the weekend. Last but not least, Tier 2, F1WL, Round 4, Canada. As we watch the timer tick down to 0, and then we'll line up on the grid for the formation lap. And once the formation lap is finished, we'll be foot to the floor, and we'll be racing here in Canada. Here we It's race time in Canada and the final race of the weekend here in F1WL. We've had tier 1, we've had tier 3, but we haven't had tier 2. And the tier 2 race has proven to be a good one to stick around for watching this weekend. As we see 7 seconds left until we're underway for the formation lap, as the drivers will be talking to their engineers about strategy and all sorts during the race. And we could look at a motionless shot of the pit lane, and the mechanics standing by, ready for pit stops. But here we go then for the formation lap. It's Martin who leads us away on the formation lap. Ahead of Jack, and then comes Fowler, Harwood, Smith, Davis, and Till. You'll have to bear with me here with that driver name. But the 7th place Alpine driver, who is Pro Can, I see here on the screen in the game. Then it's Ironlow Gamer, who will appear up as Kozłowski, I think. We'll see the Drivers' Championship. Daniel Ricciardo leads the Drivers' Championship by 500 points. That is a mighty lead to have at round 4. But as we look down the order, Ironlow Gamer, then Zotic, then Sinez, then High Caliber, Robertos, ST Plays, and Mano, as we see there. That's Martin going off the track at the corner. I wonder if that's what happened in the race. But this happened before in Spa. Martin was on pole and he failed to finish that race, albeit due to an intense battle with his teammate. However, as you watch the back of the grid making their way down towards the hairpin, and there, back at the front, Martin down the back straight, and he'll be looking to line that car up on pole. He'll be looking to hold off Jack into the first corner. However, we'll see what happens further on in this race, and we will see what occurs as the drivers make their way around the wall of champions, getting very close to the wall but not touching it, because touching the wall means that is usually the end of your race. However, you've been engraved into the Book of Legends as you've hit the wall of champions. As you see there, Martin lines up on pole ahead of Jack in the both Red Bull cars, I guess you could say the Red Bull Academy cars of the AlphaTauri, the Junior ahead of the Master. As we see behind them, Fowler, and then Seward's face behind. And it's a tense time now as we watch the final car join up on the back of the grid. And in a few moments, we'll be racing in Canada. Here we go then. It's time for round 4 of this enthralling championship. We get the newest installment here as the lights come on. 3, 4, 5 red lights in Canada. And we're underway in Canada, and it's a decent start from Martin, but an even better start from Jack, who may challenge Martin into the first corner. Who's going to be latest on the brakes? It looks like Martin may have the position because he's on the inside, but now Jack's on the inside through turn 2. There's the other Red Bull of Smith getting in the walls with Seward face, but out in front, the two side by side, Jack and Martin, wheel to wheel in the opening stages, but they go single file through the chicane as we're on board with the Mercedes. That is Davis, I think, as Davis is battling fiercely with the McLaren of Zotic now as they make their way through the chicane and out wide over the curbs as Firefly getting very close to the wall, and he's going to lose a couple of positions because of that, down towards the fast and flowing turn 8 and 9. That is Smith, who is behind Fowler up to P3. Davis has dropped down to P8 at the moment now as we see a huge train of cars making their way down towards the hairpin now as we see. And that's wheel to wheel the Mercedes and the AlphaTauri. They're getting very late on the brakes. That was KD on Davis as we look back out in front. The two, Martin and Jack, were the main stories at the start of this race. They're still side by side, or line astern, I should say, through the final 2 corners of the racetrack. And we see the rest of the pack making their way through the wall of champions as Martin already breaking the slipstream onto lap 2. Fastest lap goes to Martin at 1:19.5. And Fowler just hanging on to that final podium place from Smithy. However, Smithy will be desperate to get past Fowler in these opening stages. It'll be important to do so, and it'll be important to assert your points position over what you could say is a rival. But it's a bit early in the season to be determining rivals and who is not. As we see them head down towards the straight now, no DRS for 2 laps, so they'll have DRS on the next lap, and this could prove to be an annoyance for both Red Bulls, as I've been stuck behind a car that they dearly want to get past, and Jack closing up to Martin here. And I wonder, is Jack looking to take the lead from Martin here as he closes up into the hairpin? Very, very close there, almost missing his brain point, but missing his brain point further back with Smithy. He's now under pressure from another car, but Jack has closed up to Martin, and here we go. They're going to go side by side down the back straight. Jack is going to take the lead away from Martin in an incredible moment on the acceleration there in the slipstream. Jack takes the lead ahead of Martin into the chicane. He leads on to lap 3, but is that strategic from Martin? Is now Martin going to try and pass him with the DRS? Was that strategic? Because he saw Jack on the outside. I wonder if that was strategic from Martin to try and take back the lead of the race from him. As we see Aleski Amarego take the fastest lap, P5 at the moment in the McLaren. He currently holds the fastest lap at the moment. So on lap 3, it's Jack ahead of Martin from Fowler. Then comes Smith, then Amarego, then Harwood, then Mandacane, Mano, Davis, KD, Villardo, Sven, Hutton, Kowalski, Korkum, Procan, Sinez, and Harrison. And Boss is into the pit lane. Robertos is into the pit lane. So I wonder if he's had an opening lap smash, if he's lost his front wing. As we watch Jack head into the hairpin, being chased closely. And there, wheel to wheel, the McLaren and the Red Bull side by side. That's Amarego and Smith. We'll go side by side down the straight. This is where Jack passed Martin for the lead of the race. Is Smithy going to pass Amarego? And the answer to that is a astounding yes. And Smithy up to P4 then, behind Harwood. Just following through there as the steward's giving out a warning to one of the drivers. And Amarego's round. Amarego loses it out of the wall of champions. Amarego spins round and he's going to drop down the order, and that is disaster for him. He's dropped out of the points, and now he's going to really have to fight his way back up if he wants a decent result in this race. That is disaster for Amarego as we watch Martin chasing down Jack through the chicane and out to turn 5 into turn 6 and 7. This is already proving to be well, I don't know. I don't know what word I was going to use there to describe this race, but it's only lap 4. A lot could still happen in Formula 1, as a wise man once said. Now Jack leads them down towards the hairpin. There's Martin in the AlphaTauri. So the master leads from the junior. And he chases him down throughout the lap. He'll be looking eagerly at the back of that car, but he's a bit far back at the moment as we watch battles here. Amarego versus Kowalski and Kozlowski, whoever, I'll just say Mano from now on. Down in P12, the battle for P12 and P13. So Amarego already making his way up the order. I'm sorry, that wasn't Mano, that was Iron Lord Gamer. As we see there, wheel to wheel, the Alfa Romeo and the AlphaTauri wheel to wheel into turn 1. There was a bit of contact there, and the Alfa almost spins it on exit. That was side by side between Davis and Harwood there, I think it was. Or it might have been, no, it would have been Valora, sorry. Or High Caliber, as he's better known. As we look there, that's there, wheel to wheel. There's the McLaren ahead, and the safety car is out. The safety car comes out, and I wonder what that is for. As we get a little bit of calmness in these opening lap chaoses here already, and that safety car has come at an early point in the race. No one is out of the race, so I assume that's for debris. As I just look quickly to see if there's anyone with any front wing damage of any kind. But there doesn't seem to be so up and down the grid. So I wonder what the safety car is for. May have been a driver going slowly to just get back a position or two. As we see, and the drivers making their way across the start finish line, the safety car will be waiting for them up towards the entry to the chicane. The Formula 1 AWS Grand Prix du Canada, race time Montreal. As we see there, the Aston Martin safety car down to the chicane as Davis comes into the pit lane to presumably change tyres, but this is also coming at a good time for Amerigo. I hope I'm saying that correctly. If I'm not, you can scream at me. I'll give you consent. And also into the pit is Corkum, who has come into the pit lane. So Davis and Corkum into the pits. And we settle down here on lap 6 of the race for what was a very hectic opening couple of laps, as we see Corkum exit out of the pit lane. And he heads down the pit lane out into the race. He'll be last in the running order. However, that won't get him down. He can still make his way back up. There is still plenty of this race left to go. As the stewards giving out warnings willy-nilly behind the safety car. And just, you get a warning, you get a warning, you get a warning. Everyone gets a warning. As we see, there is the safety car train of Jack, Martin, Fowler, the top 3. As the safety car leads them down towards Wall of Champions. So the race calming down, and already with time penalties is Harwood and Morego. As we see, them both have got penalties of some degree, so they've been naughty in the eyes of the stewards, and they have got a reprimand for it, or a punishment for it, I should say. And it'll be a good time to point out that this race would not be possible without the incredible sponsors that power this incredible race and this incredible championship. I'll just quickly list the sponsors. We have Mode Push, Formula Prints, Reaction Time, F1 Podcast, 60 Ionic, RCS GFX, Racetrack Arts, Formula Rings, Legala Motorsport, Pit Stop Prizes, Next Level Racing, High Caliber Apparel, Superfan Racing, Grid Finder, F1WL and David Racing, all incredible sponsors who make dreams come true with racing that fills our heart's content. With no Formula 1 action on at the moment, this is about as close as we're going to get at the moment. I have pre-season testing just around the corner. But this is the best Formula 1 racing we're going to get for a little bit until they're back in Bahrain. As we look to the drivers making their way through, there's Corkum trying to catch up at the back of the safety car queue. And we look, Corkum catching up to the back of the safety car queue as we see safety car in this lap. The light goes green, and it is safety car to be in at the end of this lap. And we look down there at the pack, looking to see who is going to be bettered on this restart as Jack backs them up. When's he going to go? As we see there, moving out, almost contacted in the mid-pack, and they're all getting all over the place. Oh god, there could be a huge accident here, but there thankfully isn't, and we're back to racing conditions. It's green flag back in the air in Canada, and we've already got wheel to wheel through turn 1. That is a lot of cars going wheel to wheel. There's the Alpha Tauri side by side. No, and there's a car off onto the grass. Sorry, it was an Aston Martin I was trying to point out there. As we look towards the front of the pack, making their way through, Harrison has made his way down the order, and there's a Red Bull spinning, and that's Smith who's dropped down the order. Smith spins out on the safety car restart at turn 4 and drops down the order. That's disaster for him and Red Bull. As we see wheel to wheel back there, that's Martin have been in trouble. No, sorry, no, that is Martin in trouble. As we see him dropping, almost dropping down the order for P2 now. As we look, a hectic safety car restart, wheel to wheel through turn 1. Cars becoming lawnmowers essentially, as we saw them on the inside at turn 1. And we see the cars come out of the hairpin. On the safety car restart, it's Jack ahead of Martin, ahead of Lotus, or Fowler as he was better known in this as we'll try and sort of something. So we see Jack leading the race ahead. We see Jack in the lead of the race ahead of Martin, and we watch the rest of the pack snaking their way around turn 1 and 2. And the steward's giving out another warning here. So the order shaking up again as Smith into the pit lane, I assume for damage to his car. And it's a bit unclear what the damage is at this point. It's just basic front wing or whatever. And as we look there, that's in the middle of the pack. That's the Alpha Tauri there of Davis. behind the Haas of Sinez. We desperately trying to pass him as here he goes. No, that's the Mercedes. Wheel to wheel with the Haas. They run side by side. The Haas on the outside, Mercedes back on the inside. Sven and Sinez side by side. And Davis is looking behind this, rubbing his hands together, looking for some intense action here as they run line astern up towards the Wall of Champions chicane. I can see the cars flying through that chicane at over speeds of at least over 100 miles an hour. And down towards the turn one as here goes Sven on the inside. He's got the advantage here. He just needs to be brave enough on the brakes to make it stick. But the Haas is going to brave it out on the inside. And now here comes Davis. He's going to try and pick up the scraps of Sven's failed battle. As here comes Davis on the inside and gets him into the chicane. Fantastic stuff here on the safety car restart as we see hectic racing as the pack desperately tries to make their order known and make themselves known in the rest of the pack. As we see the cars making their way underneath the tunnel and into the fast points of the circuit. Well, the fastest points of the circuit, I believe. And that is Cade behind in an Alfa Romeo sandwich, I believe. It's Villoro and Harwood are P7 and P5, and Cade is in the middle of the two, so he's the filling in an Alpha sandwich as he is going to desperately try and look for the position. He's closed up to the back of Harwood. As we look there, that's Davis in the back of the pack there. Back to Cade, who is going to try and look for the manoeuvre, or is Villoro behind going to look for a manoeuvre on him? Because he is looking, and they were both looking at a manoeuvre that wasn't kind of on. As Villoro makes his way up down towards the chicane. That's side by side. The McLaren and the Williams, Amarego and Hutton side by side into the chicane. Hutton behind Amarego, however you pronounce it. And up towards the 6-7 complex of the track. Back to the action with the Alfa Romeos, and there behind, that's Davis chasing down an Alpine. Davis will be desperately trying to emulate success. Ted Smith sets fastest lap of the race, a 1:12.8. And lucky 8s there, all 8s at the end of that lap time, so it's interesting stuff, interesting happenings here in Canada. As we watch down the back straight, this will be a move of Pro-Can and Davis wheel to wheel, hopefully, or soon, as Davis will close up to the Alpine. And then yellow flag in sector 3, that's a spin, and that's Villoro at the final chicane. Oh dear, disaster for Villoro, or High Calibre as he's better known in the league. Disaster for him as he spins it out. Not the first car we've seen spinning it on the exit. And I'm sorry, I was looking at the battle between Davis and another driver. As I see, out in front, Martin's closed in on Jack. So Harry gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, but Martin leads for the race, drops down once more, 4/10 as they head into the hairpin. Martin very close to the back of Jack here, and this race is a bit all over the place, but expect the unexpected, especially in this world, as we see Martin close up to the back of Jack, and down the back straight he goes, looking for the manoeuvre into the Wall of Champions, trying to pull off a Nico Rosberg as this side by side. That's the Alpine and Davis side by side down the back straight for a brief moment there as a car shoots off down the pit lane. That was, I believe it was one of the Mercedes, I think, and yes it was Cade coming into the pits. So this is the first strategic stop we've seen in the race, I believe. And no, there was a front wing change in there as well, so it's going to be a slower stop than normal. However, Cade, who may have made front wing contact on the previous lap, comes into the pit lane and changes set as we watch back. There's the lead of the race. Jack and Martin. It's like cat and mouse out here as they head through the faster sections of the track, and Martin pretty much copying Jack's line bit for bit, trying to get every single last little gasp of air coming off the back of that Red Bull. as they head into the hairpin. Vastly closing up through the hairpin. And now down the back straight. Will Martin have that DRS advantage? Yes, he will, I should imagine. Yes, because this is a DRS zone. I was doubting myself if this was a DRS zone, as Amarego has got Sven. And out of the hairpin, that was a move at the hairpin. And Zotic has got Sven there. And Davis gets the Alpine, finally. He's got ahead of the Alpine. You saw that there at the top of the picture. You saw him get past the Alpine there. As Davis now up the position border. Up once more. Up to P6 he goes. As round turn 2 goes Davis, his teammate. Still on the back of Jack for the lead of the race. As there, wheel to wheel. Or line of stern, I should say. Is Hutton and Sven, who will follow each other down towards the turn 3 and 4 flowing chicane. And then it'll be behind them is Boss, who pitted under the safety car, I believe, or on safety car restart, somewhere around there, but he's come up the order. And Boss now right behind Sven and Hutton. So it's all calm here in Canada at the moment. However, it only takes for one overtake to happen for everything to change, and that is Hutton spinning on the inside of one of the fastest points of the circuit. You saw him try the manoeuvre on the McLaren ahead of him, Rodrigo, and he's going to drop down the order. He's going to regret that one for quite a long time, because he drops out of a points position and down the order. That is disaster for Hutton. He's down in P15. And time penalty for Jack. Time penalty for the race leader. As the race leader comes into the pits, he was speeding in the pit lane. And Mine now takes the lead of the race from Fowler and Mano. God, this race turns on its head at every moment possible. Jack getting a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is a race ruiner, essentially. There's a lot of other drivers have penalties as well. Of Fowler with a penalty, Harwood with a penalty, Davis with a penalty. He joins back into the race, just ahead of Boss. Can he get ahead of Boss? Is going to be crucial for him, because that's one less car he's going to have to pass when the pit stop cycle comes around, and he does manage to hold that position ahead of Boss. Great stuff this here in Montreal, as we see further back. That's Kowalski getting Harrison. And the yellow flag in sector 1, and I wonder what's going on there. It's all green now. But there was an altercation, and was there an altercation with Harrison in the Haas? But that's Harwood and Davis, who are going to try and go side by side out of the hairpin. Acceleration tries to get the power down just a little bit more than your rival, just to try and get alongside him. Now down towards the Wall of Champions. Are any of them heading into the pits this lap? No, they are not, but one of them ahead was, and that will be Mano in the pit lane in the Aston Martin. So Mano comes in, and the Aston Martin mechanics will go to work on his car. No front wing change, just tyres, and it's a 2.2 second stop for Mano. And he heads out into the pit lane and back onto the racetrack, where he will be down in P13 at best, P13. And yeah, it'll be P13 because there's no one behind him, and he's got his teammate for company on pit exit. And he follows his teammate around the lap, and teammate ahead of him, who was fighting Harrison, I believe. And Harrison drops behind Smith. Harrison has come into the pit, sorry. As we see, there's Jack trying to pass Amarego. So Jack wasting no time at all, trying to make up for that time penalty. As he makes his way into the fast-flowing corners of the racetrack, he's already got that position up already, and down towards the hairpin. He's already ahead of another car. And that is how quick Jack is around the circuit, and he's just lapping so much faster than the other drivers. As we look there, that's the Alpine of Procan, still behind Can and Tassos. And no one's still fancying it for the pit lane yet among the top lot. So Jack was one of the first to blink up there. However, no one's really reacted behind him. So I guess the strategies do differ here around the circuit Montreal. As we see their fastest lap in the back is Smithy, who gets the fastest lap of the race. Harry in for another penalty, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. I know that wouldn't pop up on your screen, but that has popped up on mine. As we see the sponsors making a proud return back in the corner there, Mode Push making a proud return above the fastest sector. And then of course the sponsors, incredible sponsors who make racing happen, as Yellow in sector 1 and 2. And that's just where the Mercedes just went through, and I believe there was a McLaren the McLaren was round, and that was Amarego who was off the track at the corner there. It's unsure at the moment. As we look there, that is Amarego into the hairpin. 7th place at the moment. He's having a quiet race. Moving kind of under the radar, I guess you could say. Makes his way through the chicane as there. That's wheel to wheel between the two Aston Martin cars. And there, that was a spinner. And that's Sven. Sven has spun. Sven has spun on acceleration out of the hairpin. He has spun it. He has spun his Mercedes around. And that is disaster for him. But here, that is not going to stop the Aston Martins getting Korkum into the final corner. Korkum in an Aston Martin sandwich, but he's about to be the end part of an Aston Martin sandwich as there. Mano gets ahead of Korkum, and Korkum down to P11 as we see Harwood into the pit lane. So immediately, chaos or moves happening which play out the effect of this race as we see out into the pit lane. Harwood, 7.4 seconds stop, so they must have changed something, or it must have been a very slow stop as we look back there. That's Jack, I think. Jack ahead of Sinez. He's got another car and he's lining up Altensoy. And I apologise for saying that incorrectly, but he's looking on the outside of the hairpin. Surely not. No, it was too good to be true. Now move around the outside of the hairpin. As he makes his way down, he'll be in the slipstream move, desperate to get past him. And is he going to pass him in the same place past Martin? No, he doesn't. He slips back in line. DRS active, but now on the outside now. It's going to get him long before the braking zone. And Jack breezes past up to 4th place goes Jack. And now all he's got ahead of him is Davis, Fowler and Martin. That separates him and the lead of the race. However, those cars are all still yet to pit. And there's his race story. He started 2nd, he's now 4th. However, thanks to a couple of errors and mishaps and tomfoolery, things have happened in this race that have caused the outcome that we currently have. As we watch Jack make his way through turns 6 and 7. And behind the Haas and the Alpine, very close to one another. Might be ones to watch during this race. As we continue to see Jack through the final fast corners. I was going to say the final corner there, but no. As he heads up towards the hairpin. And you see the Haas and the Alpine getting very close to one another. I said that'd be a battle to watch, but at the moment, we will see how that one folds out as there was a move further back down the order. And there was a move at the back of the grid. I'm not sure which it was. I think that may have been Hutton getting Sven, and someone can check me later, but I saw the arrows see that there has been a manoeuvre. As we see the Haas making its way through someone behind the Alpine. These two chasing each other down all throughout the race, and they could be ones to watch later on in the race as they chase each other down constantly. Cat and mouse. And out into 6 and 7. As Hutton, no, not Hutton, Third Face has got a 3-second time penalty to add on top of his already 3-second time penalty. So 6 seconds worth of time penalties for Harwood. He's down at 16th place, and he's ahead of his teammate Villoro, who has only got 3 seconds worth of time penalty. Smith, 3 seconds worth, but he's only got the fastest lap at the moment. As we see there, that's Smith. Yeah, that is Smith. In the middle of the pack, just cruising around with the fastest lap, enjoying his life. As into the pits comes Fowler. Fowler is into the pits. As he comes in, the Ferrari mechanics get to work. Hopefully there are no tyres lost in this pit stop, and there aren't any. As he comes out into the pit lane, 2.3 second stop. 0.1 second slower. And in comes Amarego. As the McLaren crew will work on his car. They have to wait a few seconds though before they can get to work on it. Fowler on pit exit is ahead of his teammate. And the mechanics still waiting around there, and out he goes into the pits, and that is going to cost him quite a lot of time there, as Harwood into the pits as well. And out in the race, this is on board with one of the Hasses, as there have been issues for Martin, the race leader. There have been issues for him, and I'm sure that will be addressed. The car's now ghosted, and I wonder, is that going to play an effect? As Martin lost another win that looked to be in the bag, looked to be secured. Only time will tell us as the yellow flag set 2 as Martin comes back into the pit. And Martin's rejoined. So internet issues for him. So he may not have pitted the lap he wanted to, but that is what happens when internet stuff happens. As Jack up to P2, Davis into the lead of the race, and back into the pit lane comes Sinez. He's also in. As we see Martin, and 5-second time penalty for car 99. That's Boss, the Ferrari who's just come in. That'll be for speeding in the pit lane, I'd assume, because that is the most recent activity he's done as a Boss. They get to work there, and out into the pit lane he goes. 2.2 second stop, point faster than his teammate. As we see, he comes back out into the race. He'll be best 11th, and note he drops down to 12th. We drop behind Cade. Every time will tell us there's Cade. Oh no, there's Sven, sorry. And Sven just out ahead of Boss. So Boss is behind Sven, and I think Boss was ahead of Sven before the pit stop, so keeping up here. He needs to keep up with Sven here to get the position ahead of him, and that is for 11th place, and ahead of Sven is the points. As they follow each other down towards the fast-flowing section of the track where you hit the brakes and then it's accelerating through the corners, and then now this up towards the lead of the race. Jack and Davis. The main story of the race, Jack, who's come from the back. Well, he hasn't come from the back, but he's dropped down. As we see the Alpine into the pit lane, and out 2.3 second stop from the Alpine crew. They'll be happy with that one as he comes back out into the race, back towards the race lead. Jack and Davis. Jack chasing Davis down. Davis still yet to make a stop. So will Davis fight him if Jack gets the opportunity to pass him? Is DRS active for Jack? Is he going to have a look here? No, he's not. He's not going to try and unsettle him. He knows that he's still got yet to pit, that Davis is still yet to pit, I believe. And into the hairpin. He's not going to try anything. He's going to keep it safe and sound as comes out, and on acceleration he's going to try and get in the slipstream and going to try and make the maneuver here into the Wall of Champions. He's on the inside, and here he goes onto the brakes, and he's got the move done far before he went into the brakes, and Davis does not come into the pit lane this lap, and Jack is back into the lead of the race. So it's Jack in the lead from Davis, then comes Martin. It's Red Bull 1 and 14, and then AlphaTauri 2 and 3. So, yeah, Davis has made a stop, sorry. So that was a legitimate battle for the lead of the race. I'm losing track of who has made stops and who hasn't made stops, so I do apologise for those watching getting a bit confused. As, yeah, you see there is the stops changing as there. That's side by side, the Haas and the Williams through turn 2. That's Hutton and Sinez. Side by side, Sven comes into the pit lane. Sven in the pits, 2.2 second stop for him. As we look back, and it's all kicking off. Here is yellow in sector 1. As we see there are the two Williams, Corcume and Hutton leading through. As Smithy is out of the race. Smithy in the Red Bull is out, and the safety car comes out along with it. Smithy is out of the race, and I wonder, where has Smithy... Smithy has retired according to the track map on the exit of the chicane, so I wonder, has he gone in? And there, everyone will now come into the pit lane. So it doesn't matter who made their stops, because the safety car comes out, and those who haven't made their stops are going to benefit from this, as Jack is serving the 3 seconds now. Fowler takes the lead of the race. Fowler takes the lead, and Jack drops behind both AlphaTauris, as to be expected, with the 3 second time penalty. However, he gets ahead of Martin, though. And he's not going to get ahead of Firefly. 2.5 second stop for Martin. It's the second safety car of the race, as we see Mano into the pits. The Aston Martin could get to work on him, and there's a lot of double stacking in the pit lane. There's a lot of action in the pit lane now, as we see the safety car queue of cars in the pit lane. There, the Williams crew getting to work on that'll be Hutton or Corcume. One or two. And no, that was Corky. In comes Hutton, the number 51 Williams. Out, back into the race come all those cars, and they've dropped down the order. However, everyone has made their stop now. Everyone has made a mandatory stop on lap 25 of 35. So it'll be 10 laps to go once they finish this one. And only one retirement so far of Smithy. However, more could join him given what happens, given who makes moves, given what happens. Only time will tell if people come out of this race or not. As we look there is what everyone's on. So Fowler's on the medium, Jack is on the soft tire, so he is going to challenge Davis and Fowler for second and first. So it's going to be a real battle to the end here, as the rest from Martin all the way down to Hutton are on the medium tires. Boss and Amerigo are on softs. Villora and Harrison are on mediums, and Harwood is on the pit exit. That's a great tire to be on, the pit exit tire. He's on the soft tire. So yeah, that is the state of affairs in terms of tyres, as 10 laps to go in the race. We'll be on the safety car for at least another lap, I can assume, or one more lap, and then we'll go racing. Or this lap, we'll go racing. What I mean when I say one lap. And I will take a sip of unbranded water. Give me a second. Didn't know why I need to tell you that, but I did, apparently. So, as we lead under safety car, there's Fowler in the lead of the race. So he'll be looking to try and hold them off, because now Fowler is in a position to win this race essentially with 10 laps to go. He can very well do this. He just needs to hold them off for at most 9 laps. If we go racing this lap, which is unlikely because not everyone has catch up to the back of the safety car queue, as we've got a big gap in the safety car queue, and that I'm trying to see who that is. Well, there was a big gap, sorry, but they've caught up to the pack now, I think. I'm just looking at the track map. It showed a huge gap in the queue somewhere. But behind Amadeo, the final 3 cars in the running order, they have not caught up to the back of the safety car queue as of yet. The light's still blazing on the safety car. And it will be another lap of behind the safety car, so they'll be warming up their tyres. So 8 laps now, so the gap closes for Jack to pass his 2 cars once more. After that is the question, when is he going to try and pass these 2 cars? He's already looking out, warming up his tyres. He'll be looking for the opportunities. Turn 1, 3, and wherever else. Those are the main overtaking points. So turn 1, if you're feeling ballsy, you can make the move into the Wall of Champions, but that is if you're feeling very cheeky indeed. And everywhere else around the lap is an overtaking opportunity, provided you are close enough. You can't send it from 50 car lengths back and then expect to make it through. But that is the mind of some people, and we can't change that, and we have to accept that. But behind the safety car, once more, the tyres will be in great condition for those who have stopped, and everyone has pretty much stopped apart from Lotus. So Lotus, or Fowler, on the older tyres will be dragging his Ferrari along the straights on the old tyres, while Jack will be roaring, will be the prancing bull, or the charging bull, sorry, and he'll be the prancing horse around this lap. As we see Fowler still warming up his tyres, and behind the procedure for warming up tyres, a safety car in this lap. The safety car will be in at the end of this lap. The safety car lights have gone out. So now we get our answers to all the questions. All the answers will be given to you within these last 8 laps. Stand by, ladies and gentlemen, because these last 8 laps could be the best laps of all the entire race. As we look, and when is Fowler going to go? So he's got to wait for the safety car to head in, and then Fowler can put his foot down and try and hold on to his win, or his first position, as Fowler out of the Wall of Champions. He's gone already. So here we go then, on to the final 8 laps of the race. Lap 28 out of 35. Fowler leads ahead of Davis, then comes Jack and the Alpine, then comes Martin, Mano, Kowalski, Korkum, Sedez, KD, Sven, Hutton, Boss, Amarego, Harwood, Harrison, and the final car is Veloro, or High Caliber. as Sinez makes a move on Korkum already. As we see, closing up is Jack to the other two cars. And there is the Aston Martin with Davis in the back of the pack there. In the mid-pack, I should say, that is the battle for 5th place. Aston Martin looking for a fantastic finish here today. Both cars in the points. That'll be a very big surprise for Aston Martin. It'll be a very good, not surprise was the word, but a very good result for them. As we see, that's wheel to wheel. That's the McLaren and the Ferrari. Bit of wheel banging here. The McLaren right up the inside. And there's been contact down there as the Williams has gone wide as well. And here comes the Alfa Romeo trying to get involved as well. And there goes the Williams of Hunt to the inside. The Williams of Hunt has spun it out of the hairpin. And he's dropped down the order. He's dropped all the way down. He's lost his front wing. Disaster for Hutton. And he was battling with Boss. I think it was Boss sending it a little bit too much on the brakes. And that's disaster for Hutton, as he's now going to have to pit and drop even further behind them. So that is Hutton's race effectively over, unless we get another safety car, which I can't see happening within this race. As fastest sectors, Smith sitting at 20.3, Davis 23.0, and Martin. So you've got different drivers setting different fastest sectors. As we see there, that's Davis, number 19, AlphaTauri, ahead of the sister team, the Red Bull, charging Bull even, of Jack. Just hunting down, waiting to pass him, stalking its prey, stalking all the way around the lap. And Jack makes his way through behind the AlphaTauri. He'll be able to draw that rear wing of the AlphaTauri very well, as that is the McLaren, of Amarego, who has spun it. And we look back to the front of the pack as Jack closes in on Davis. And through the wall of champions, very, very close to the wall there. The top four still in it to win it. DRS is enabled, and that could be a game changer for the rest of this race. For the final 5 laps, this could be tense, as we have all the 4 cars. We have all the cars here ready to go, ready to overtake, but it's just not happening yet. As we see, there's the Mercedes of Sven, I believe that is. It's one of the Mercedes at least. No, it's KD of who's ahead of Korkum and Boss and Sven. As we see, that is on board with Korkum as he is behind Cade. And now he will look to catch up to Cade and try and make the overtake. But as a wise man once said, catching is one thing, passing is another. And as he makes his way out of turn 9 down towards turn 10, the hairpin. We look back up to the front of the pack. Davis from Fowler, from Davis, from Jack, from Martin. The top 4 still in it, and then it's a 2-second gap to the Alpine behind in 5th place. They make their way down towards the Wall of Champions, on board with Davis through the Wall of Champions in 4th gear, out up towards the main straight, and its foot to the floor as Jack really closing up to Davis, but nothing happening now as he just closes up, but then nothing happens. He sort of just falls back, kind of, as you see. Getting closer and closer as Martin sets the fastest lap of the race. Martin, the pole man, still here as he leads through as the yellow flag in sector 1. And that was I'm not sure what that was, but it was something happening in the first sector, let me tell you. As they make their way down the back straight, down towards underneath the tunnel, down through turn 8, into the fast turn 9. We foot to the floor, getting very close to the wall. Wall of Champions-esque like chicane, and down towards the hairpin. They make their way through. Cormac Hutton sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:11.8, so he must be on the soft tyres because he has just set the fastest lap. So it's not over for Hutton's race. It isn't over for Hutton. We all thought it was over. It isn't yet, but Davis closing up to Fowler. You saw Fowler break the slipstream going into the World Champions, so Fowler and these two battling, Fowler and Davis, who might go into battle. This might entice Jack to breeze through and take the lead here, but this, well, it all comes down to what the leaders try as Davis goes a little bit deeper than he would have wanted. Through the corner there, wheel to wheel. That is Mano, and there the Alpine spins. The Alpine spins, he was wheel to wheel with Procan. Mano and Procan were side by side, and the Alpine simply, I don't know if there was contact there or what, but he spun it out of the corner. And this race starting to take a turn now, as we see the top four back again with the top four. And there, Corkum still behind, still hanging on to P10. And it'd be amazing if Corkum could get points here in Canada. That would be simply lovely. As they make their way out, that's the Haas of Sinez, I believe, chasing down Iron Lol Gamer. And look back to the top four, there's Martin. Getting a little bit detached now from the top four. He's dropped back behind Jack, but they're all now in the slipstream. Here comes Davis. He's going to try on the outside. Yes, he is. Through goes Davis up to the lead of the race. And that was a fantastic move on the outside. But now he's got a challenge to hold off Fowler. And is that battling going to entice Jack to come through? I don't think so, because Jack is back down the order. 2 laps to go, or 3 laps to go, sorry. As we look at Fowler chasing down Davis, who absolutely did him dirty on the outside of the Wall of Champions. That was a sensational move on the outside. He saw the gap, he saw the opportunity, and he outbraked his rival. That was smart thinking by Davis to get past. As they make their way down the straight, Davis getting very close to the wall, and that might be playing out for him, because that's more of his car going over the apex, and that means possible damage maybe. But Martin is closer to the back of Jack, as Jack has a little moment there. You saw that just briefly for a second. He had a little moment, and here comes Martin on the inside. There's contact, and Jack is off. Jack is off, and he's round. There was contact between him and Martin, and once again, Martin makes contact, and he's dropped down the order behind Iron Lol Gamer, Mano, and Sinez. He's dropped down to P7. My, oh my, what was going on there? Martin was on the inside. Who gave each other enough room? I do not know, but that was intense there as they went into the hairpin. There was contact there. Jack has not worsened off. It's Martin who's actually had the worst of that collision, but that collision will have slowed Jack down because he spun it. So that is now Jack essentially ruled out of the win, essentially. And he had the chance. He was on the soft tyres. However, he didn't show the pace, but he could have had these two at the front kept battling. Davis ahead of Fowler. So come out of the fast part into turn 6. And through this chicane, I guess. And there are the 2 Aston Martins behind them. So Aston Martin bring up another place. Mano is P4. And Iron Lol Gamer is P5. Sinez is P6 at the moment. If they stay like that, this could be a very nice afternoon for Aston Martin. If they make their way up and out, down towards the hairpin, they only have to traverse this course one more time after this one. And then it will all be over for them, and then they can rest easy for another week, and then we're back again for more racing action. But Davis flying out in front ahead of Fowler. Fowler, you know, all he needs to do is just hang on to P2 really, and then he'll be sorted. But Davis in the lead of the race with the 3-second penalty implied. 1 lap to go, sponsored by Mode Push. With the top 3 all with time penalties. This could be a very nice weekend. That's Sinez! Sinez is out of the race! Sinez! I don't know what happened to him, but Sinez is out of the race. I don't know what happened there. I was looking at the top of the grid. Oh, dear, Sinez in the Haas. That's disaster for him as he's dropped down the order. The only other Haas here is Harrison, so Haas are most likely not going to score points here in Canada. And that's disaster. Martin goes up to P6 now. As we see up at the front there. That's Davis making his way through, and there, that's Boss leading Sven, or Sven leading Boss through the final parts, the final hairpin. Out of the hairpin for one last time. Comes Davis. And I apologise for my commentary, it was a bit all over the place today, but it doesn't matter, because Davis out in front into the Wall of Champions. All he needs to do is just keep it together, and there's contact there. Martin going wide there, but out in front. Davis has looked uncontrollable since the start, and he's won. He is a race winner once more in F1WL. Firefly, or Davis, brings glory back to AlphaTauri as he wins the Canadian Grand Prix from Fowler, from Mano. Mano is on the podium because Jack got the 3-second time penalty. Mano is on the podium from Iron Lol Gamer P4. Jack is P5. Pro Can P6. Sven is P7. Martin P8 in the end. He had the contact at the hairpin. You saw it in the last moment. He had the contact at the hairpin. Corkium P9. Fantastic stuff for Corkium. Scoring points. Boss is P10. Cade P11. Villoro P. Oh, and we got a final spinner as Hutton rounds it out with the final spin of the day. I'm sorry, I was reading the timer graphic there. Villoro P12. Harrison P13. Harwood P14. And Hutton finishes it out in P15. But take a bow, Firefly. You are a race winner once more. Just as it was in Belgium, he is a race winner. When Martin makes contact, you know this man is here to pick up the scraps of whatever happened to Martin. And once again, Martin on pole and Firefly or Davis bringing the win to the AlphaTauri squad. It seems like David is not David. Sorry, it seems like Martin is almost cursed. And when he gets pole position, as they come out of the order, and there he is. Martin comes out onto the podium place. He is a two-time race winner now in this season. And they're up there on the podium, Fowler and Mano. And that will be incredible. Mano will be savouring up this moment. And there is the trophy. Another one to put in the glass cabinet for AlphaTauri. And the team looking thoroughly enjoyed. He'll be thoroughly enjoyed with himself. A second win of the year for Martin. And that rounds off the racing action here in Tier 2, but it also rounds off the racing action here in Canada as well. It's been a fantastic weekend, all weekend long, with fantastic battles up and down the tier leagues. And there are the final results. Firefly from Esprit Lotus, from Mano. And that is an incredible result here for the final race of the weekend. And we hope, and I hope I see you next time. And we hope all here at F1WL see you next time here in a week's time, same time next week for the next race